into account that I reviewed this movie 3 years ago for its 5th anniversary during the World event, like Jurassic Park 3, this will be a refresher review. While this is a good movie, it's basically a rehash of the original Jurassic Park had we not had the Nedry effect of corporate sabotage. The idea of the Indominus Rex as a means of reinvigorating interest in a theme park is not something that's uncommon today, as it's a problem with a lot of entertainment in updating movies, TV, music, and video games in order to retain the current core audience while attracting new audience members. The secondary and tertiary characters in The Boys and their parents annoyed me. Not so much Gray, I'm indifferent to him. Zach, I would have looked the other way if he had gotten eaten, as he seemed to resent the idea of babysitting his brother and only seemed interesting in chasing tail. Here's how you know Hollywood's out of touch with reality. They think teenage boys giving girls a dirty look is attractive. Try that incel stuff in real life and you'll wind up with a face full of mace and your nuts lodged in your stomach. The last thing Jurassic World needed was this creepy mindset that went out of style with MySpace. As for the parents...
I know it hurts, sweetheart.
Are you gonna be okay?
Oh boy. Condescension at its worst. Hey Rexy, feel free to have an appetizer.
Are they as annoying as Sam Witwicky's parents?
Oh, undoubtedly.
Ooh, I'm gonna enjoy this!
Enjoy.
Oh, I will!
So, how were they?
That took longer than it needed to. Very bloated. And no real value.
So pretty much like Bay's direction decisions.
Indeed.
The idea of Henry Wu becoming this Frankenstein scientist with the creation of the I-Rex, where it's a mixture of T-Rex, Velociraptor, cuttlefish, and Amazonian tree frog is intriguing, but also making an overpowered super dinosaur. You'd think after the Spinosaurus in Jurassic Park 3, they'd keep the concept of a super dinosaur simple and effective where it's just brute strength, and not have it be an X-Men dinosaur. One thing I did like about the movie is the further evolution of the Velociraptors. The idea of weaponizing them does strike me as odd. I like the idea of Owen training them as to learn to understand the animals better, and that they recognize him as their pack leader despite still seeing him as raptor snacks. This is expanded upon when the InGen security plus Owen and Barry go hunting for the I-Rex, which then leads to this scene.
Hello. What are you? Hello, I am an original fan characterosaurus. Do not steal.
Oh, it doesn't end there.
Waste them, or no human and pineapple pizza! Lady, you've just crossed the line. I want my human and pineapple pizza! Guess who's back?
And then comes the fight of the Rexes, the Challenger and the I-Rex versus the OG Queen, the original T-Rex from Jurassic Park herself, Rexy. Looking at this fight seems oddly familiar.
Humans don't deserve to live.
They deserve to choose for themselves.
And you will die with them.
Yes, folks, this is not Jurassic Park anymore. This is Jurassic Park if Michael Bay got his hands on it. Despite not being at 100%, Rexy proved there is life in the old queen left, as she and Blue laid waste to the I-Rex before the Mosasaur delivered the killer blow. Or mouth in this case.
Thanks for your help. You're not going to eat me, right? Kid, I just got the tar beat out of me. Do I look like I'm ready for round 2? Ugh, kids these days.
In the 8 years since this release, my opinion is less favourable. There are aspects of it I enjoyed, but it feels like a wasted effort in replicating the magic of the original Jurassic Park and produce something that just felt hollow, cheap, and contrived by comparison. This is why Jurassic Park is still the one to beat. And you can quote me on that. As I've stated before, this character feels like a fusion of Grant and Malcolm. There are the ethical concerns of Goldblum's character, yet like Neil's portrayal, he has questions and respect for the animals, being an animal behaviorist in raising and training Blue and the rest of the raptor pack. Pratt portrays Owen with a lot of tactical common sense, with plenty of charm and charisma to keep the character interesting. Hey there, Gwen Stacy. It's been a while. Bryce shows an evolution of Claire Dearing throughout this movie, and only seeing the dinosaurs as numbers on a spreadsheet to really becoming a likable character as she looks to find her nephews and showing compassion and empathy for the animals. Especially with the scene of the dying Apatosaurus. He gives a good performance for what he's given to work with, but after seeing him as Kingpin in Netflix's Daredevil, this feels like a step down. The idea of taking velociraptors to replace human soldiers would have worked had this movie had more of a out there sci-fi plot. But when you consider that Jurassic Park grounded the animals in a more naturalistic setting, this just feels out of place. As I've stated before, there wasn't much for him to work with in Jurassic Park as he was a secondary character, and people after 20 years aren't necessarily the same as they were before. But to go from brilliant geneticist to essentially mad scientist just feels like it came out of left field. The late Khan comes across as someone who is warm and only has the best interest of the animals and visitors of Jurassic World in mind. He struck me as being cool, but in a good way. He doesn't try to oversell himself and carries himself with humility, especially with this line.
Don't forget why we built this place, Claire. Jurassic World exists to remind us how very small we are, how new. You can't put a price on that.
I like that. You know, I'm probably one of the very few who didn't have a problem with this character. He's basically a 2015 version of Tim from the original movie. He has such a wide-eyed innocence, and he's actually excited to be at the park. He redeemed himself towards the end in keeping his little brother safe, but for the majority of the movie, I had no time for him. The photorealism had improved tenfold since the original Jurassic Park. But that said, even if you were to compare scenes side by side, the OG still holds its own. There weren't as many animatronics used, with the exception of the dying Apatosaurus, and that is a nice respectful nod to the legacy of the late Stan Winston, who sadly passed in 2008, of which he was given a nod with the sign Winston on the main road. Motion capture was used in some instances, as there are some things that are really difficult to teach a computer to do, when it's easier to use mocap actors to act out the animals and then make the necessary changes in post-production to make the mocap actors appear as velociraptors. Michael Giacchino had a mammoth task ahead of him. When you live in the shadow of the legend that is John Williams, you have some massive shoes to fill. And to Michael's credit, he delivered this score in spades in keeping the essence of what John had created 22 years prior. One of Michael's earlier credits in his career was the score of the Lost World Jurassic Park for the PlayStation 1. So it's nice to see things come full circle in the beginning with the Jurassic Park franchise in video games and ascending to the movies. Jurassic World took a profit of $1.671 billion against a budget of $150 million. After 8 years, that take-home profit would be worth $2.1 billion in 2023. However, even though it outgrossed Jurassic Park's profit of $1.46 billion, if you adjust the original movie's profit for inflation, then Jurassic Park easily outgrosses Jurassic World with $187 billion. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone gave it 3 stars out of 4 and wrote, "It's not the cynical cash-in cheese fest you feared. Okay, Jurassic World is a little of that, but this state-of-the-art dino epic is also more than a blast of rumbling, roaring, did you effing see that fun." He praised Trevorrow's direction, Pratt's and Howard's performances, and the effects. Anne Hornaday of the Washington Post rated it 2 stars out of 4, writing, "Every action movie today ends up as Transformers, and, even when it's clone creatures fighting, the same is true here, with an antic dash of Sharknado tossed in for good measure. It's not ambition or technical know-how or even plucky resourcefulness that saved the day in Jurassic World. It's good old-fashioned anthropomorphism. Humans, it seems, never learn. But if we did, where would sequels come from?" Spielberg said, "To see Jurassic World come to life is almost like seeing Jurassic Park come true," while Sam Neill also praised the film and its acting. The movie would be followed with 2018's Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom tying in with the 25th anniversary of the original movie, and the Jurassic World trilogy culminated with 2022's Jurassic World Dominion, in which the original trio of Jurassic Park met the cast of Jurassic World. Since 2015, the movie has been enjoyed on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K. I'm MJ Knight, and this was Jurassic World.
3 years after the disaster at Jurassic World, people attempt to rescue the dinosaurs in the island doomed by a volcano. Real Features revisits the events in the first ever retrospective of Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, only on Real Features.